Hi everyone and welcome back to the Crafty Yellow Camper, and today I've got another card for you using the Reindeer Fun stamp set and dies. I've already shown you a card using the designer series papers, but I really wanted to show you this die, so I think it's absolutely great. So this is the stamp set. We are using a couple of the stamps out of there today, but I really wanted to showcase you these dies. So there are dies, like there always are, to cut out the images. So we've got the mother and baby here, and we've got the sort of jumping, can't see that, can you, because my light's reflecting off it, sorry. We've got the jumping deer here, we've got the mother and baby deer here. There is a tree, so there's a edge die for that, and then there is a die for the bells as well, and then we get these really nice dies here. So there's this one that's like a little wreath, which I think would be really good if you were making a card that had a door on it, but this is the die that I actually want to show you today. So it cuts the top edge and then it cuts all this detail out for you, and that's what I've used on my card here to cut this effect out. And then I've also got this cheeky little reindeer, and he's made up of these 3 dies. So you get the background, the middle ground and the foreground, and then to add on to that as well, you've also got some fairy lights, some parcels, and that's what these are for, in case any of you are wondering. These 2 dies here, there's a bow and the ribbon that goes across the parcel. So the little one fits on this one here, and this one fits on this bigger parcel here. So let me just pull this one off and show you. They're always completely welded to the sheet when you get them. Okay, there we go. So this one, when you die cut it, fits on that parcel like that, and it will cut you the little ribbon bow at the top. So they're really handy ones to have. There's another bow. There's some these bells cut together, but they're 2 individual bells. There's berries. This really nice big set of holly leaves, which is what these berries fit on. If I can persuade them off the card. There. So they fit really nicely in the middle there. Yeah, so really nice set of dies. I was really pleased with these. So as I said, this is the die that I used to cut out the bit out of the front. So if I move this to one side, oh sorry, that was my trimmer just sliding across the floor. I've got laminate floor in my craft room, which is really practical when it comes to sweeping bits and pieces up, but terrible for things like cardstock and my trimmer skidding everywhere. So let's pop that card to one side, and I'll bring in the bits and pieces and show you how I made it. Okay, so I have gone ahead and cut that die from the front. So let's start at the beginning, shall we? So this is half of an A4 sheet of Pool Party. So cut widthways across the A4 sheet. If you've got a different size, this would still work. And then it's scored in half. So that gives us a standard C6 card. And then what I've done is I've cut 2 pieces of basic white, and these are cut at 14.3 by 10. One for the inside, and then obviously one for the front, and that's what I've then die cut this out of. So I've cut it more to the top of the card rather than slap bang in the middle, because I want to do some stamping across the bottom. So that's that die. My piece of advice using this die, if you're going to cut several of these, which I have, make sure you pick it out in between sort of every second cut. Otherwise you end up with a build-up of cardstock in here, which then means the die doesn't cut properly, because obviously it can't go down into the cardstock properly. So I'm just hoping this is going to pick out all right. So that's the middle section removed. I was looking at that thinking, is there anything I can do with that? But I don't think there is. Okay, and then I'm just going to bring my pokey tool in and take out the rest of these bits. Now I wouldn't normally pick out bits while I'm on camera, but I just wanted to show you. You could see there there was 2 pieces came out at once. And if you don't pick your die out properly, you end up with some of these bits getting a little bit stuck. Because as I said, you end up with extra layers in the die, which means that there's no room for the die to go down properly to cut through the cardstock. So just something to be aware of. There are quite a few little fiddly bits in this die to get out. And that's the other reason I'm doing this while you're watching me. If I find if I push them through to the back from the front, and then if they are really awkward, you can flick it over, turn it over and flick the bits out. Okay, so we've got nearly all of those out of there. Just this side to go now. And I really would recommend using a pokey tool. It's far easier than your scissors. The problem with the scissors is obviously as you're going in and out, you've got a blade. And so there is always that chance you could catch the blade and rip the die cut. Whereas the pokey tool is just sort of a needle point. Yeah, that one again didn't want to come out. I'll just give that. Just be careful and hold the card if you're helping pull it out, because you don't want to rip it. Okay, that's all our bits out of there. So let me just get rid of these pieces. So yeah, top tip number 1, always make sure you weed your die out in between cutting different, if you're cutting multiples. Okay, so I'm going to do a bit of stamping on this first. I'm just going to bring in a piece of scrap paper because I want to stamp slightly off the edge. And the first thing I'm going to do is use the snowflakes from the stamp set. So we're using these ones here. And we're also going to be using this tree. So I've got my Pool Party ink. And I'm just going to randomly stamp snowflakes. Well, I'm not really doing it randomly, am I? I'm stamping into those corners and then I'm filling in the gaps. So I want to get snowflakes over here. And obviously don't be afraid to stamp off to fill in your space. And again, you don't have to fill it all in. You can leave a little bit more space if you want to. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, let's just put this Pool Party ink away, is I'm going to bring in this cute little tree. And I've got some shaded spruce this time. And I'm just going to, again, I'm going to do 2. Oh, I didn't ink that up very well, did I? I'm going to do 2 in the corners, 1 each corner, and then I'm going to do some a bit higher and some a bit lower just to fill in. Okay, so that's that. I'll rid of my shaded spruce ink. Then what I'm going to do is bring my Pool Party ink back and a blending brush. I just find with basic white, sometimes it's just a little bit harsh on the cut corners. And I want it to blend nicely with the base card. So I'm just going around with my Pool Party ink, trying not to make it too messy. Always start off the card. Don't put your brush directly down onto the card because you'll get brush marks. And try and do it in fairly small circles. Okay, so there we go. We've just sort of inked that up around the edges just to get rid of the harsh edges. Right, while we're at it, I'm going to bring in the middle of our card. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing again, round the edges on that. Just to take that stark edge away. That's it. Okay, and then while we've got the ink out, we are going to, oh, hang on a minute, a little bit more on that corner. We're going to go back with our snowflakes. And I'm just going to decorate the corners and round the edges, just to give us a little bit of a frame. And again, don't be afraid to stamp off. You don't need to necessarily get the entire stamp. Just make sure you protect your work area with some scrap paper or something the ink will wipe off like a silicone sheet. Okay, so that's that. And then the last thing, we're going to bring in our greeting, and I'm using just the Merry Christmas. Hopefully you can see that greeting. And I'm just going to eyeball that in the middle, and make sure you go down and straight back up again. Okay, so that's our stamping done. So we can get rid of those ink pads and that scrap paper. Oh, and I forgot to bring my stamping mat back in. Okay, right, so now what we're going to do is make up this little reindeer. So there is a right side and a wrong side, and you'll notice on this one that I caught the end with the antlers of the one underneath, but I just wanted to show you that it doesn't matter because you line up the bottom. So if something like that happens to you, don't think, oh, that one's no good. Okay, now there is a right and a wrong side when we've die cut, so make sure you've got the right side, and you'll know the wrong side because it'll have slightly raised edges where the die has cut. Yep, so that's both our wrong sides, that's the right side. Now I'm going to use some edges, bits of the mini dimensionals. I always use up my edges, and I'm just going to cut. Oops, hopefully we won't lose them. So on the back of the top layer, I'm just putting one piece of dimensional. You could put some little tiny pieces down on these shoulders, but you'll see why I haven't in a minute. And then on the middle layer, I'm going to put one at the top, up there, and then one at the bottom. For those of you that watch my videos regularly, you're probably going, where's your jam jar? What are you doing with the dimensional backs? But I've got a bin down here and I'm flicking them into the bin. Okay, so this is our backing piece. And I should have my jam jar out, and I do normally have my little jam jar out to collect it all up, but it's getting late. This is the last card I'm recording, so I'm just flicking them at the bin. Okay, so we need to line up the bottom. Now, of course, you could stick this flat. You don't have to put dimensionals on it. You could just use glue to stick it together. Do you see what I mean about that piece not showing? And then we're going to put our top layer on. Now, I've cut these from Early Espresso and Pecan Pie, but obviously you could cut them from whatever colour you chose. Now, the important thing is to try and line up the eyes and the nose, otherwise it looks a bit odd because your pupils are in the wrong place then. And there we are. Hopefully I can get him up so you can, oh, try and get it to focus so you can see him. Okay, right, so let's start putting this card together. So the first thing I'm going to do is bring in our insert. Just using some Tombow around the edge. A little scribble down the middle. Tombow is, as always, less is more. Because we don't want it all squelching out of the edges. I actually don't like using a brand new one because I find it's too much. Okay, now for this front section here, we're going to raise this up with some bigger dimensionals. So I have on my desk got some of the larger dimensionals. This is where it's really handy that we sell the two sizes. So this is what's left of the little dinky ones. So what we're going to do is put one on each corner. Now you could use our see if I've got some on my desk. Yes, I have. You could use this, our foam adhesive sheets, and you could just cut sections of this to go along and a little bit around the sides, but I'm going to use dimensionals. If you do cut things like the adhesive foam sheets, or you're cutting the edges on the dimensionals, then use a pair of Teflon scissors. Unfortunately, Stampin' Up don't sell them. I really don't know why they don't, but that just stops your snips getting glued up. Okay, right, now I haven't taken the backs off those dimensionals, you may have noticed, and I'm just offering it up to the card front because we need to stick our reindeer in, and I want him to be behind there so he looks like he's peeping out. Now, when I first saw this stamp set, I was a little bit worried because One of the examples in the catalogue used this die, the round one, and this reindeer made up, and it almost looked like a trophy head hung on the wall. In fact, it does. On one of the papers it does as well, and that's really not my bag. So I wanted to use this die because I think it's really cute to make the reindeer up in the 3D, but I didn't want it looking like a trophy hung on the wall. So here he looks like he's peeping out through the forest. So I'm just going to put a little bit of Tombow down the middle. And what I now need to do is to get him in the right place. So by not sticking that down, that gives me the ability to offer it up. And I'm holding him by the antlers. And lift that up so that I can get him underneath where I want him. There. And then I can push it down. I can take this off now. And I can make sure he's securely attached. Then I can go back, do the whole thumbnail in the middle of the dimensional thing. 1, take the backs off. 2. Okay, so that's all of those. And then I can offer this up to the card and get it in the right place. So I'm going to put the bottom on first and then the top. Okay, and then the final thing, I just wanted to add a little bit of wink of Stella. So I'm just doing the stars on top of the trees. I mean, you could, if you wanted to, obviously colour this in with some Stampin' Up markers so you get the different colours of the tree. So you could do the brown, you could do a yellow star. I was being a bit lazy. So I did it all in green. I'm just putting a little bit around the bottom of the trunk, and then I'm just going to put a little bit of wink of Stella on our reindeer's antlers, on the edges of his ears, and across his forehead, just so he looks like he's had a little bit of frost. Okay. I don't think you'll be able to pick up that wink of Stella on there. I'm having a bit of a problem. I've got a new phone. Doesn't fit in my camera mount as well as my old phone did. And the angle I have to have it at means that my lamp is now glaring on the screen that I can see. So hopefully you're not getting too much of that glare. But if you are, can somebody please let me know in the comments, and I'll try and move my lamp around to avoid that. Anyway, there's our finished card. That's the inside of it. And yeah, hope you like it. Really nice dies. I think, you know, this die particularly could be used with lots of different sets, not just this reindeer set. So I think you might be seeing that coming in some other things as well. And I can't wait to use these presents and this holly leaf and berries as well, because I think they will make a really nice card just on their own. Okay, so let me bring the other one back in. You might notice that my deer is 2 different colourways. So another tip for you, if you're cutting these, don't cut one, wind it through, then cut another one. Do 3 of one colour, 3 of another colour. So all of the 3 pieces in one colour, all of the 3 pieces in another colour, and you can swap them out. Okay, that's it then. I hope you like the cards. Hope you'll give it a go. And any questions, obviously pop them in the comments. And I'll see you all again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.